purpose of this meeting, the Select Board of the Town of Brookline is required by Section 20 VSA Subchapter 3546 to conduct a hearing when a domestic pet or wolf hybrid has bitten a person while the domestic pet or wolf hybrid is off the premise of the owner or keeper. The person bitten requires medical attention for the attack, and the person bitten has filed a written complaint with the Select Board. The purpose of these rules is to establish uniform procedures for conducting such a vicious domestic pet or wolf hybrid hearing and to ensure the compliance with the Vermont Open Meetings Law. Application. These rules and procedures shall apply to all vicious domestic pet or wolf hybrid hearings conducted by the Town of Brookline Select Board. A copy of these rules shall be provided to each party bringing a complaint before the Select Board. The Select Board Chair shall conduct the hearing in the following manner. The Chair of the Select Board, or in the Chair's absence, its Vice Chair, shall chair all vicious domestic pet or wolf hybrid hearings. If both the Chair and the Vice Chair are absent, a member selected by a quorum of the Select Board shall chair the hearing. The Chair may make motions and may vote on all questions before the Select Board. The Chair shall rule on all questions or orders and procedures. The Chair may exclude any irrelevant, unreliable, or unnecessary, repetitive evidence. Relevant evidence is any verbal testimony or document that tends to demonstrate the innocence or guilt of a domestic pet or wolf hybrid subject to complaint. Reliable evidence is any relevant evidence commonly relied upon by reasonably prudent people in the conduct of their affairs. All vicious domestic pet or wolf hybrid hearings shall be conducted in the following sequence. We're going to open the hearing by reading the warning notice of the hearing. Title, Town of Brookline, Notice of Public Hearing, read Vicious Dog, Public Nuisance Complaint, dog owned by Beverly Waters. The Select Board of the Town of Brookline, Vermont will hold a public hearing pursuant to 20 VSA subparagraph 3546 on Thursday, February 8th, 2018 at 7:15 in the Town Hall located at Grassy Brook Road in Brookline, Vermont, to hear evidence and receive testimony on a complaint of a vicious dog concerning a dog named Gucci, owned by Beverly Waters of Brookline, Vermont. So the complaint has been, the warning has been read. Now I need to read the complaint that was received and remind all present that this hearing is mandated by state law and will be conducted in an orderly manner, and that all statements must be directed to the chair. The complaint received. My name is Jessica Barr, and I am writing to make a complaint against a dog I was bitten on this past Friday, January 5th, 2018 at 92 Merrill Drive in Brookline, Vermont, by a pit bull that is currently owned by my landlord, Beverly Waters. I rent a home a few houses down from her at 74 Merrill Drive. I was told that the dog had all of its shots, but I haven't seen any proof. I was treated at Grace Cottage Hospital emergency room that evening, and then again for a follow-up on Sunday, January 7th, 2018. My injuries consist of some surface scratches and bruising to my right arm, because that's where he went to bite first and didn't get a good hold. And then went for my right leg, causing multiple punctures and severe bruising and obviously bleeding. Thank you for your time in reading this, and please do be careful. The dog was vicious. Sincerely, Jessica Barr, and she gave her phone number and her email address. I have taken the town's vicious dog complaint form and moved some of the information from the email to the complaint form and attached the actual complaint form to the back of it. Okay. Ask the complainant and the respondent. Well, the respondent is sick with the flu, but I told her that this would be on Fact TV Channel 8, and she can watch it from there. But ask the complainant. I did hand out copies of the rules. Does everyone have a copy? Okay. All right. Is there any questions about how to proceed with this according to the rules? Does anybody have any questions to the handout that I gave you? Hearing none, I shall move on. Okay. Are there any conflicts of interest from the select board members with this case in relation to knowing or having an association with the respondent Beverly Waters? Anyone need to recuse themselves? Hearing none? Okay. All right, next I need to direct the complainant and any representative that wishes to speak and provide evidence to stand up and take the following oath. Please rise if you're going to be giving evidence.
I'm not so true.
You don't have to, but if you take the oath, you can.
Next.
Okay. Please read out loud from the handout that I gave you. You can start, it says, I solemnly swear.
I solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration be that
Shall be the whole truth,
nothing but
the truth. Okay, thank you very much. You've all sworn or affirmed that you will be giving honest evidence. Okay, now I need to talk about accepting written information from the complainant presented to the select board. So, written information, I do believe most of your written information you submitted to our animal control officer. As we go through the information, if we wanted it to be marked as evidence, I will pass it to Gwen, and she's going to record the sequence of the evidence that's being received. I'm going to ask you, Jessica, to present some oral testimony to the select board and tell us in your own words what happened again. And you can stay seated.
I don't understand.
I'm just being a little, I'm trying to be very organized. So, yeah.
In January 5th,
Excuse me, could you just state your name?
my name is Jessica Barr. In January 5th, I went to go pay my rent to Beverly Waters at 92 Merrill Drive, of which I was never told that I could not do so. And went up, set of stairs to a porch, knocked on the door. I, was asked who it was, and I said, it's Jessica, I'm here to pay my rent. And she said, hold on a minute. And then to the left of me, apparently there is a door that I was unaware that they used. Beverly came to, went to come out the door, and the dog got out from behind her.
There's two doors. You were at one door, and Mrs. Waters went to another door.
Yes.
And the dog came out of another door, not the one you were standing at.
Yep, I was up a set of stairs on a balcony porch, knocking on a door that was right at the top of the stairs, and to the bottom of the stairs, a door that I could not see from where I was standing is the door that Beverly came out of. And then the dog came out of from behind her.
That same door?
That same door that she came out of. And the next thing I knew, I turned to my left, and he was just about at the top of the stairs. I turned to the right, I had nowhere to go due to piled up snow and whatever else, and which is why he got the right side of me.
Where did he get the right side of you?
He went for my arm first. I do believe because I was probably trying to block him. It happened really fast. But then he didn't get a good hold of my right arm and went straight down from the back of my right leg.
Where on your right arm were you bitten? Can you point to it?
Right there.
Okay. And do you have any pictures?
I do. They were submitted.
Okay, I'd like to enter those pictures, if you don't mind, into evidence.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is a set of pictures, colored pictures showing stitches?
No.
Oh, no, those are
Puncture wounds.
puncture wounds, okay.
No bruising.
Okay,
Tears.
this would be evidence A. Please mark that.
Puncture wounds and tears.
Puncture wounds and tears. So your arm, and you also were on your leg, where on your leg? You could pass it.
Above my knee, like the back of the top of my leg.
Okay.
The top half of my leg.
When you said you knocked on the door, did you say you heard Mrs. Waters say, hello, who's there?
Yes.
Okay. Did she say, wait a minute?
Yep, she said, hold on a minute.
Okay.
And then that's when, next thing, the dog came out before her, obviously.
How, is that the normal way that you pay your rent?
No, no. Usually Miss Waters comes to the house to get it.
Actually, there is no normal way. We've only been there for a couple of months.
Oh, that was my next question. How long have you been there? When did you move in?
We moved in November 4th or 5th.
Okay, and so this is January 5th, so that sort of makes sense that you
Yeah.
paid November, December, this is your third month, beginning of the, you finished living there for this is the beginning of your third month's rent.
It's the second time we've actually had to hand money to her. So we don't
I'm sorry,
have-
could you state your name, sir?
My name is Joseph Fleming, and this was only the second time we've actually had to hand her money or money orders to receive a receipt for payment for the rent. So we don't have a standardized procedure for it, and nothing's been set.
Okay. Were you aware, is her land posted in any way?
The day I was there, I was unaware of any signs. I did not see any.
Okay.
And I have seen none either.
Okay.
If it is posted now, it's been since after I was there.
So you did not observe, the land was not posted for trespassing or dangerous dog or anything like that? Is there a sign now, do you know?
I don't go down that side of the road.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, sir.
What is the address where she paid the rent?
92 Merrill Drive.
Thank you.
92 Merrill Drive is the place where you went with the money to pay your rent for January on January 5th, where the dog came out and bit you. Okay.
The only reason I went there that day is because we don't like to pay that late. You know, we're not ones to pay our rent or anything late.
And there is no cell communication.
Yes, that's unfortunate here in Brookline. We don't have cell phone communication to do that.
I'd also like to point out that
You are,
Nancy Libby, ACO for Brookline. The house that you paid the rent at is not owned by Beverly.
No, it's not.
Right. You live in the house that she owns, so
Yes.
I don't know if that technically means she was on her property or not.
Wow.
Actually, it's owned by a couple who lives in Florida at the moment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just do-
Bruce, I'm gonna finish the
Go ahead.
and then I'll ask.
Go ahead.
Do you have anything else, visual information or pictures or anything?
Nothing
Okay,
beyond
so
what we
that's
have.
something, all right. And this is the only time you have had a run-in with this particular dog?
Yes.
Okay. And the dog is could you describe the dog for me?
Well, I later found out his name is Gucci, and he's like a golden brown color.
Okay,
He's
nice.
absolutely beautiful.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna invite select board members.
Yeah,
We'll
two
start-
questions. Her name is Barbara?
Beverly Waters
Excuse
is
me, Beverly
the
Waters.
respondent who is not here.
Did she ever instruct you as to how to pay your rent? Or did she ever give you any definitive ways to do it?
It was preferred that she pick it up from us. It was never stated that I could not go there to pay it.
Okay,
Being.
but she didn't pick it up because it's the 5th of the month.
Yes, and we were like, okay,
I want to pay my rent.
we don't care to have that much that kind of money laying around, you know? So
That's it.
he says to me, why don't you go pay the rent today? Okay, I'll do that.
My second question, more importantly, did she ever stop or make an attempt to stop the dog or say anything to the dog or try to hold the dog down or do anything to keep that dog from coming at you?
I don't believe she would have been quick enough.
Okay. But did she say anything?
She did. She came up the stairs after Gucci did. And,
But did you say anything before Gucci bit you? In other words, stop, heel, or whatever you want to say to the dog to stop the dog?
not that I remember.
So what I'm doing here is trying to develop if there's any control by this woman over this dog. And obviously there isn't any.
No.
I got my answer.
Mr. Webb? Any questions at this time? David?
Yeah, do you So you, just to understand the context, so you rent the house, Mrs. Waters' house, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. Do you have a lease with her?
Yes.
You have some, okay. Does it list her address as the 92 Merrill Drive?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything in the lease that says you are not supposed to go to her residence?
No.
Okay. This was the first time you'd ever actually gone to the residence, or have you been there before for any reason?
One of our dogs got out one time, and then I was looking for him, and I pulled in the driveway. But as for going to the residence, I don't believe I've ever been up to the doors.
Okay, okay. And just to confirm again, has she ever said to you, do not come to my house?
No.
Okay.
Gwen, Mrs. Hanson, any questions?
Sorry. do you want to-
Let me add to that.
Yes.
It was suggested and kind of Ms. Waters would prefer a text message before coming, but as she very well knows, and
Okay.
everyone here knows, there is no service from, a certain point up, so there was no way of me, and I do not have her email address, so there was no way for me to say, hey, I'm coming down to pay my rent.
Right, but and to clarify, just to reiterate, you knocked on the door, she acknowledged that she knew you were at the door,
Yes,
and then
came out and
opened another door out of which the dog came, so, I mean,
Yes.
okay.
And there was no trespassing sign and no notification at all that says you shouldn't be on that land.
Not that I saw.
And in your lease, it says you are renting 74
Yes.
and she's living in 92.
Yes. I do believe it's a lease to own.
All right,
Hers is a lease though.
that's correct. All right, at
Yes.
this time,
Current residence, yeah.
since the respondent is not, decided not to come, or she could have asked to Skype, we certainly could have done that as well. I will then ask, are there any other people who came, any other residents that would like to speak or share any information about the dog in question before I move on to some other things?
I've had the dog.
Your name is
Nicole Hall.
Nicole Hall.
We've had the dog on our property, no leash. It ran away, and me and my daughter were alone
And
in
you live where?
2 Bush Lane. And it definitely a scary dog.
How old's your daughter?
7.
But at the time, I think she was like
You are,
4.
sir?
I'm her husband, Adam Hall. I was not there to witness the dog. I really don't have any evidence against the dog, with the exception of driving my truck past their house one day, the dog come running up out of nowhere. I can live with it, but I have heard war stories about this dog. I have seen this dog. As far as that, that's really all I gotta
You've seen
say.
him not on his property.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was going to attack me and my daughter, honestly.
Not bad.
Beverly came running down the road, she called to the dog, it did stop, turned around and went to her, thank God, but had she not caught him, I don't know.
Now, where is your house compared to where
We're-
Beverly is?
We're on,
About 5 or 6 houses south.
About a
from their house.
we're
quarter
on the
mile?
good end.
Maybe
Quite
a
a
quarter
ways.
mile?
Quite a ways.
So he was loose and on
was
the
on.
road coming toward your house?
No, he was on my
On
property.
your property.
Yep, I was out back with my daughter. We were
Okay.
rounding the corner to go around my house towards the front yard when we saw him in my front yard and looking right at both of us.
My name is Terry Davison Berger. I'm a former resident of Brookline at 30 Bush Lane, which is directly behind Merrill Drive. And Gucci, we had Gucci on our property at various times while we lived there. And then in the spring of 2015, I heard a report that he had bit a state trooper that had gone to the Waters property, which made me extremely nervous, thinking that if this dog bit a state trooper, what would the repercussions be? And I had contacted the Brookline Select Board at that time, asking, what could we do about this dog? Because I knew that this dog ran loose in the neighborhood and had been at my house. And I had a 3-year-old son at the time. So we reached the point where we actually did not feel comfortable allowing our son outside on our own property. And my husband is a beekeeper, and he ended up, when he was outside working his bees, he brought a shotgun for fear of this dog being on our property. And I did receive notice that if the dog came on our property and we felt threatened, that my husband had the right to use the force that was necessary. So that's just, there was no question in my mind that I did not want my 3-year-old son outside on his own yard for fear at any point that this dog could come. So we eventually, a few years later, just like a year and a half ago, we sold our property. And I could not honestly say that part of the reason for us selling our property and leaving Brookline was not because of not only the dog, but other issues with that family as well. But the dog definitely contributed to us not feeling safe and sort of held hostage on our own lands.
I'm going to ask the animal control officer. I end up knowing the answers because I have the file here, but are you aware of any other instances of dog aggressiveness?
Yes, my first call was back in 2015, January 25th, 2015, about the dog having bitten a young child in Beverly Waters' home. We couldn't, the dog didn't have a rabies tag at the time, wasn't registered with the town, so I went to Beverly's house with a state trooper. I don't believe it was the same one that was bitten, but it might have been. On Monday, February 2nd, to get the dog. Beverly put the dog in a crate in my car, and I brought it down to BCA Wyndham Animal Hospital. They said that I could bring the dog there and they would quarantine the dog for the 10 days. But when I arrived, they said they couldn't because it was a vicious dog and they didn't have the means to handle it, feed it, water it, take it out.
So you're saying that the animal hospital veterinarians would not accept the dog because they deemed it to be a vicious dog?
They couldn't handle it and they didn't want to put their staff in jeopardy.
I'd like to enter into evidence an email exchange from Nancy, our animal control officer, first indicating the contact she had with Barbara Murphy regarding a minor that was bitten. And I'd also like to enter into evidence the select board approved final select board minutes, which shows the statements made by Nancy, the animal control officers that discuss this particular bite. So I'd like to enter that into evidence. Any other situations?
Well, over the years, over the last 3 years, I've had probably a dozen calls.
Could you talk a little bit about what you learned with the state trooper?
I learned that the state trooper was bitten when he called me on, it was early May.
May 21st.
Late May. And because it was on, it's good. He said that he was bitten on her property, and because it was on her property, he didn't want to file a written complaint. So there was nothing we could do at that point for that bite.
I will say, I'd like to just go back a second. Barbara Murphy also decided not to file a written complaint for whatever reasons, and she did not pursue a civil action.
Correct.
And the state trooper decided not to file a written complaint and decided also not to pursue civil action, even though he was bitten, and I did speak to him myself.
That's correct.
I would like to enter into evidence email regarding an exchange describing the dog bite with the state trooper on May 21st. Actually, there are several here. Here is an exchange with information. Another one written on May 26th. After consulting with the Vermont League of Cities and Towns lawyer, I'd like to enter that into evidence. I'd like to enter into evidence a letter that I sent to the select board members at that time, summarizing the information I had gotten from our animal control officer and the state police officer about the dog bite. And what is this? And, oh, all right, we can enter, this is also evidence. This is an email regarding Beverly Waters and the Barbara Murphy dog bite. I'd like to enter this.
Make a copy of that?
No, it's email.
I have it.
Email.
I have it on
All right, so that covers the second time in which, was Mrs. Waters, so Mrs. Waters put the dog in the car, the first dog bite in January 25th, so she was aware the dog bit somebody.
and that it didn't have a rabies.
And it didn't have its rabies shot.
That's why I was able to take the dog.
Correct, and impounded for the
Yeah.
10-day quarantine. With the state trooper, she was there when the state trooper was bitten, so she was aware of his...
I
you
wasn't
weren't.
there. A state trooper did come with me when I went to get the dog, but that's not when he was bitten. Yeah. And I did find out after the dog was picked up the next day by Beverly.
The dog had to be quarantined at her house because there was no place for us to quarantine the dog.
Correct.
For the 10 days.
And I explained that to her.
Because, right.
And I did receive phone calls after that, within the 10-day period, that the dog had been seen out running.
So she was not in compliance with the order of quarantine with the dog bite in January of 2015. So my concern is going to be if will there be any compliance problems with anything that the select board chooses.
And I did go to her house and talk to her about that.
I'd like to make a point. I received a letter, notarized letter, this week about a dog bite that was not reported again in June of 2015, where a minor was bitten. I can read this to you. I was recently contacted in regard to a dog bite my son Matthew Brooks had received a couple of years ago and asked to confirm if this injury was caused by a pit bull owned by Beverly Waters. This letter is to confirm that in June 2015, my son Matthew Brooks was in fact bitten in the hand, causing puncture wounds through the hand by a pit bull dog owned by Beverly Waters named Gucci at her home on Merrill Drive in Brookline, Vermont. He was seen and treated at Grace Cottage Hospital. My understanding of the incident is that Matthew put his hand out to stop the dog, which was coming towards him, and the dog bit his hand, signed by Tracy Brooks and notarized. I would like to enter this into evidence where demonstrate that the dog owner knew her dog was dangerous. Now we come to the last current one. You have another one.
I have one more to tell you about. I received an email on January 25th from Kaylee Maskell.
Of 2017 or 18?
15, I beg your pardon, yeah,
Okay.
2015. Stating Alicia Reeds was bitten on the arm by Beverly Waters' dog Gucci. She didn't want to come forward either. but I do have a photo of the puncture wound. That's 2 weeks after being bitten.
So this is the January 25th dog bite where you confiscated the dog and tried to impound the dog because it had no rabies certificate. So this goes as evidence as well.
It's on the back.
It's on the back. All right, thank you. That's a good point. Anything else on those three so far?
Good.
Unexpected.
I'm going to, I have paperwork here that we shared. I'd like to submit into evidence the following information. The original vicious dog complaint form. For Jessica Barr's complaint dated January 9th, 2018.
Should have been A and B.
That's okay.
That's okay.
On January 25th, I responded to the vicious dog complaint and denied initially this hearing for the main reasons of that the attack did not occur off the premises of the owner or keeper, and the complaint was missing information, the following information was missing: the time. So that was the first response sent out to Jessica. The following week, actually on February 1st, a week ago, Jessica came and asked to provide the missing information. The missing information was received on Thursday, February 1st, after which I then sent to Jessica a response to the vicious dog complaint and granted her this particular hearing. So I'd like to add that to the evidence. This hearing was duly warned, and she was sent that and posted in town and online. Beverly was sent a letter that says that the Brookline Select Board will be holding a vicious dog hearing on February 8th, 2018 at 7:15 in the town office located at 734 Grassy Brook Road, Brookline, Vermont. The purpose of the hearing will be to hear statements and testimony and review evidence presented regarding the male pit bull known as Gucci, owned by Beverly Waters. It has been reported that the dog bit Jessica Barr on January 5th between 3:30 and 4 when Mrs. Barr went to 92 Merrill Drive to pay her rent. Mrs. Waters does not own the property where the attack occurred. The vicious dog hearing has been properly warned, and a certified letter was sent to Beverly Waters requesting her appearance at the hearing. After reviewing the circumstance, the board will close the hearing and go into a deliberative session to decide whether the dog in question can be deemed vicious and what actions will be required. A minimum of 3 select board members will be present at this meeting. The hearing is considered an open meeting. So I'd like you to add that to the evidence. As the town health officer, it's required when an animal bite is reported that a form be kept on file here in the office. I completed such a form: location of bite, the name and address of victim, the doctor that you went to the hospital, the owner's information. I checked with West River Valley Veterinary that the dog did have its rabies shot, and it expires on July 18th, 2020. It has been licensed, delinquently licensed here in town as dog number 125. Actions as the health officer was to speak to the ACO. I spoke to the victim. I spoke to Beverly Waters on the phone. I spoke to the vet's office, and we are holding the dog hearing tonight. So this is that the town is following the protocol necessary to do this. Okay. All right, so that was that. I'd also like to put into evidence that the main concern here is that the owner of the dog has said that she had no idea the dog was vicious. However, last year, sometimes this happens to me. I go, whoop, oh, here it is. Okay. Last year, as the Select Board Chair and Deputy Animal Control Officer, we issued 10 municipal tickets to Beverly Waters based upon nuisance complaints received from neighbors in the area. We went to court January 25th, 2017. Of the 10 tickets that were issued, 2 of them were fined. The 2 tickets that were fined were ticket number 96819, which was fined $155. And that ticket was, I have the ticket right here, I'm going to enter it into evidence. Actual ticket copy. 9. Okay. Both male and female pit bull dogs were loose on neighbors' properties. The dogs threatened to attack the neighbor, the neighbor's dog, and the people in the house. The male dog attacked the door and stalked outside of the home. After 15 minutes, the dogs went home. This particular summons was granted as a violation according to the Brookline dog ordinance, and a fine of $155 was issued and paid in monthly statements through the court system. The next ticket that was also substantiated by the court was ticket number 96820, and that ticket was for the male dog Gucci not being licensed for the year of 2016 as per required by Vermont statute. And so I'd like to enter in that both tickets, including the one which shows that the dog was vicious. So here are the tickets. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, Jessica.
I do want to add in that Miss Waters, after Gucci bit me, I fell backwards and half sat on him to stop him from turning around and biting me again. Miss Waters was on her way up the stairs at that point. She did grab him and bring him inside. She also came back and she did help me down to my car where my children were. There's a good chance 99% of the time that they are on my hip and by my side. This day was so cold that I told them, no, you need to stay in the car today. She did help me to my vehicle. She also decided it would be better to write a rent receipt out before allowing me to sit down in my car. So I was standing on one leg. Bleeding, not thinking I was going to be going home and taking my jeans off to find a hunk of flesh hanging off of my leg.
Oh, jeez.
I am 34 years old. I have gone through childbirth with no drugs. He was there. He knows. And I would go through that over this again any day.
Very traumatic.
Never been more scared in my entire life. I used to own a pit bull. And when I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, I spread a bunch of baby things out and put baby powder on them to make them smell like baby to see, because she was not one to enjoy strangers or intrusions. And although a wonderful dog for us, came home one day and those things were ripped to shreds. I tried giving her away. She almost ripped somebody's arm off. 2 days later, I put her down because it was the right thing to do. And to this day, I'll never forget it.
So you can recognize
I have owned
it.
them, and I have never in my life seen a dog with the look on this one's face that I saw that day. We don't allow our children to go out in the yard and play anymore because we're afraid of this animal. They also have another pit bull puppy, a brindle pit bull puppy, female, who runs loose as well.
She actually traced around our yard yesterday. I watched her do it.
You need to photograph evidence of that, if you possibly can, in order and report that.
Could you just get a picture on a smartphone or
Something along those lines.
If need be, I can also provide other photos of the back of my leg, which still is not fully healed over a month
Do you
later.
have more appointments to?
Actually, I have to call back because I don't get service. I did actually receive a voicemail today in town, and to have them to go back in and to see Dr. Schaefer up at Grace Cottage Clinic to see about getting a referral to have the tendons and nerves checked in the back of my leg, because there is a possibility of possible damage. And even though I can walk okay, it does not feel normal.
Yep.
And it should at
That's to
this
get it
point.
checked.
So I'll be going to see a specialist for that, and probably missing work as well for that. I just, for fear of numerous residents, there is a file, I'm assuming about an inch thick, on this animal, or more. One woman, which wasn't able to be here tonight, 28 phone calls and complaints on this animal. Hauled up in her shed for 4 hours on a summer day with a can of Raid because she was scared for her life. Her and her husband are retired. They should be able to enjoy their retirement and their property, and they can't do it because of this animal, and because of the way the animals are being raised and cared for.
That part of the complaints were due to negligence in care of the animal. Unfortunately, the courts prefer to see photographs and physical evidence. If there is a loose dog, and if it's not dangerous, if you can corral it and call one of us, we would pick it up anytime.
Could you corral that dog? Or
Well, I'm
contain it?
thinking that puppy we were talking
No,
about.
another dog.
Another dog.
Not.
I was gonna say, I don't think any of them.
Can I give y'all something?
Yes, sir.
And I would love for all of you to read this. Since then, not that we are interested in gaining any sort of nominal, we're not interested in money. We want to know the situation taken care of. We don't want a Girl Scout walking up to that door and being killed. Okay?
Jehovah's Witness.
My name is Joseph Fleming. Whoever asked that. I've kind of highlighted or circled a couple of spots that I really would like to start.
I'll say.
And please notice, and notice the date on that. This is from Jessica's lawyer. We did talk to a lawyer because we didn't know if the town was going to be able to do anything about it. And we know that if you go through a lawyer or whatever it is, it gets into the insurance things and it causes them to rethink, can I have insurance or can I have the dog? And that's why we went this route. But take a look at this.
This is,
While we're looking at that,
There's that,
I will have
it should
to,
be presented to the chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
and then I'll share it with everybody.
Yeah.
That's not your fault.
Don?
that is an email from my lawyer in regards to a phone call that Beverly made to him.
All right, I can enter this into evidence. This is an email sent on the February 4th, saying that Mrs. Waters has called the lawyer that you had hired, and saying that she's not presently represented by a lawyer, but she knows that Vermont has a strong first bite free law, and that she's unaware that her dog has bitten anyone prior to your incident. And that's what we're trying to do here. In this hearing, we're trying to ascertain certain facts about the dog's behavior, conditions of living, so on and so forth, and whether or not it's true that she got bit, but you provided us with that evidence. We'll enter this into evidence as well.
This is the rest of that email.
Oh,
Again,
And you have
that's,
this as,
yes, ma'am.
so,
Don?
when you have the town of Brookline, and this is more than just a violation of the ordinance, this is a vicious dog hearing, we will be discussing it, but you did the right thing. Only through civil action are you going to get really help solve this problem. This hearing will help you with your civil case, but we'll have to deliberate on that later on. Anybody else? Yes, sir, Mr.
I
Hall.
just want to know from my personal information, what's the time frame of this dog, as to when it started biting people?
Yeah, well, it's a-
How many times has it bitten?
Yep, that one.
we have on record 4 times that there have been bites. Only
Plus-
one,
Plus the state trooper?
including,
But
And what kind of-
only one
What kind
has,
of timeframe is that?
excuse me, only one filed a complaint, a vicious dog complaint, and that is you. This week, I did get a letter from Tracy Brooks saying that yes, in June of 2015, her son Matthew was bitten at Beverly's home, but was not going to pursue it. See, the thing is in Vermont, if the dog is in the home on the premise of the owner, then it's protecting its property.
She's not the owner.
I understand that, but I
She's
mean,
not the owner.
so what is the total times here in the
The
matter of
dog,
years?
it's been a report of a dog bite on January of 2015. June, well, we just entered.
I have it.
Here, I have it here too.
Okay.
Just over 1 year?
I'm correct, I mean, if I'm correct, if I'm surmising what you're asking, the earliest report of a bite by this dog that we're aware of, or that's been entered, was
January.
3 years ago.
Yep, correct.
Essentially.
So the I know where you're going with it, and
I just,
I agree with you.
I know he's bitten, I just don't know how many
Yeah.
times. It's starting to sound like an awful lot.
It is.
I think what he's saying, we can actually put a statistic behind, okay, how long has it been? About time to think about somebody else.
I could actually go a million
So
directions here.
the trouble that we have is that if somebody doesn't write a formal complaint, we can't do anything about it.
No, and I understand that. I'm not
And-
saying this, bringing it up towards like you guys did anything wrong.
Right.
I'm just saying statistically, it's been 5 or 6 times in 3 years.
4 times right here.
4
January
times.
25th, June 2015, May 2015, January 2018.
So 4 times in 3 years.
She didn't
And,
bite.
And 3 times
The
what?
first bite I'm
And the
aware of
owner still doesn't believe this dog is
is the
vicious?
report.
That's why we have the hearing, and we.
Well, I guess my point would be is, I'm a dog owner, I got 2 dogs, and I had to build a 20 by 30 kennel. I've had to muzzle my dogs because they like to bark, they're dogs. All of which I've done. But they're not running loose biting people, even if it is at my house. I have an obligation to take care of those dogs. Where's, the buck stop here, is where I wanna know.
That's why
Because
we're here tonight.
I don't send my kids to that end of the road for a reason.
No, we're grateful that
And my second question is, if I catch it on my land, what am I supposed to do about
you're
it?
allowed to,
Mental.
If you have.
I just need that
aggressive-
stated to me.
you can shoot the dog if you feel like you're
being threatened.
being
So how is the
threatened
dog
or
protecting
anybody.
itself
Well,
against
at this time, we
unarmed
need to.
female?
we
It's not like
need-
she went to pay her rent with a freaking baseball bat.
Okay.
Or well, next time.
Ladies, gentlemen, at this time, we're gonna move on. We understand that this is a very traumatic kind of process, and we're grateful that you came forward, and we're trying to do the best we can to move through this. Are there any other comments from the select board members at this time?
I'm just a little confused. You said you were on a 2nd floor, but there was snow piled up?
What
It was
is
on a
is-
porch, like a deck.
He's got an
It's a
upper
deck.
porch that opens up from their living room. It's either a slider or a French door. I've personally been there
Okay.
over other matters with the people. And underneath is the basement. It's like above ground basement with a door. Big stairwell that goes up to the porch.
And you were told, wait, and then she'd come out. Were you told why there was a delay? And
Well, I heard a dog barking.
okay,
I did hear a dog barking when she said, hold on a minute.
okay.
May I add just one more comment? I know you have to move on. She did, when she was helping me out to move me down the stairs, she did tell me that this was the first time he had done this in about 2 years. So the letter from the email from my lawyer flat out states a lie. She was very aware.
Well, you might be asked to testify to that in your civil case, which would,
Absolutely.
yep.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir, Mr., what's your name, sir?
Peter Libby. So, you have the hearing, what's the time frame going forward?
All right, I'm gonna tell you that next. As soon as we move through this, we're on M right
And
now.
what are the potential cures for this issue?
We'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Can I ask a question as well?
Yes, sir.
And back to what you said, so I haven't been to the house. Jessica and I, we are joined, you might say.
Not married, but might as well be.
I haven't been to the house. So Jessica, you were standing on a, kind of like a walk-in level thing, did the dog come from like a
No,
walkout
no.
There's a
basement?
few stairs to the
Yeah.
door.
When you're looking at the side of the home, there is a stairway that goes up to like a balcony porch.
Okay,
It's
like
not very
4
large.
stairs?
No, oh, probably 8 or 10.
Yeah, it's not
Oh,
big.
8 or 10
Yeah, she's been there.
stairs?
Yeah, and it's not a large porch by any means.
No,
And then the dog came from like underneath, from like a walk-up basement thing?
no. He came, I was standing here up on the porch. There's a door, this, to the left of where I was standing, that is not visible from where I was. There's another door, it's almost like the house indents right there.
Yeah, yeah.
You've been there, you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That is the door that they came.
It's not obvious when you go to the,
No,
to the
that's why I
stairs.
didn't even really know that the door was there.
All right, at this point, just moving down through our list of orders here, upon a motion and a majority approval, the chair shall either adjourn the hearing to a time and date certain or close the proceeding by stating that this is the final public hearing of the matter. I am the chair and I am going to make a motion to adjourn the hearing to a time and date, Wednesday, February 28th at 6:30 p.m. here at Town Hall. This will give the select board, this committee, the select board time to review the evidence presented and to contact the town's attorney for assistance in developing an order of protection for you and your neighborhood, and to see what we can do about modifying or changing the situation with that particular dog. So that was part of the question. So on Wednesday, February 28th at 6:30 here in Town Hall, we will have all gone through the evidence, we'll have talked to the lawyer, and we will have developed the order that would be, she will have to follow through on. If she decides not to follow through on the order, she'll have to go to Wyndham Superior Court and work with that against the town of Brookline versus
Town lawyer.
yeah, the town lawyer, correct. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this hearing until February 28th at 6:30 p.m. May I have a second?
You have a second.
Is there any discussion? I have a motion and a second to adjourn to resuming the hearing on February 28th at 6:30 p.m. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of finishing this hearing on the 28th of February signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that is what we're doing right now. The select board is now going to enter briefly a deliberative session, in which case the written decision of the select board setting forth its findings of facts, conclusions of law, and order for the domestic pet or wolf hybrid will be rendered in writing to the owner of the domestic pet or wolf hybrid by certified mail, return receipt requested within 30 days, which is March 9th. So on the 28th, we will come together and talk about the actual, and you're welcome to return to that. Or not. And by March 9th, everyone, you'll receive a certified letter as to the deliberations. These rules, okay, right. And this is adopted by the select board when the ordinance of the dog ordinance, which was adopted on July 3rd of 2013. So at this time, I'm going to make a motion to end this hearing. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor of ending the hearing at this time signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. The meeting is over at 8:13. We're meeting at 8:31 this evening. February 8th. What did I say?
You're late already. You're late already, Doc.
Oh, because today's February 8th, the agenda was the February 7th agenda. So I've called the meeting to order. Number 2, review any changes to the agenda, if any. I would like to make a recommendation that we hold off item 7A 8, 9,
9 is German. We want that.
right.
Items,
All right.
not time.
No. So those are the, so I'd like to abbreviate the meetings by deleting those items this evening and from our agenda. Any other agenda questions?
Which-
Sorry, can you just clarify which items again you're saying?
7A, highway and roads, current projects, new business, old business, and that's it.
Okay.
We should be able to move through it.
Okay, I would like to say that I do want to give just a very brief
Sure. all right.
update about the town report
Okay, so we shall then,
at some point,
That's,
but it'll be super brief. I
that's down
promise.
further.
how about we do that during the updates? Summary updates?
Sure.
David?
Yep.
Jones, town report, EB 6B. Anything else that you want to add or change to the agenda? Seeing none, let's take a look at the minutes from the January 17th, 2018 regular meeting. Any changes to page 1 of 7? Any changes to page 2 of 7? No, hearing none. Any changes to page 3 of 7?
I had two.
You had a couple, do you remember?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, so line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on page 3, under highways and roads, just last weekend's, it needs an apostrophe. It's the fourth word in. And then,
Okay.
and there's one more. What was the other one?
Yeah, board will, under road bridge weight limit,
Right.
will review and?
Yes.
And make.
And, yep. Thank you. I'm glad I emailed you.
Well,
Any other changes to page 3? Page 4? Any changes to page 5?
I do have a couple of changes, I guess.
Are you writing in the morning?
Well, no, actually, I don't have any changes to that. I have subsequently made changes to the warning for the town report, but I guess they don't have to be changed in the minutes.
Okay, because they'll be posted separately.
Right.
Nailed out.
Yeah.
Change, page 6?
We should change, because this was pointed out about the minutes originally. Article 13, it should be Saturday preceding,
Preceding.
not proceeding. Julie Livornia did read our meeting minutes draft and noticed that and pointed it out.
Good for her. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's very good.
Okay. And anything else on page 7? All right,
Nailed that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as modified. Can I have a second? Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the modified minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Okay, scheduled members of the public, there are none. Unscheduled members of the public, they are not here. Summary update reports, Mr. Tanza, Town Clerk, anything new going on?
No, I'm gonna just give up my time for this, for the abbreviated meeting and get right on to the other thing.
Okay, David Jones, you'd like to talk about the town report?
So the town report is at the printer. The proofs have been approved. Thanks to Guy for getting me a variety of things to put the mailing list together, which I think is okay generally. The one thing I do need to point out, and there's not really anything we can do about it at this point, unfortunately, is Prospect Communications, that has historically printed this and done various things with it, were bought out by Springfield Printing. The price we have been given is considerably higher than the price that the town has paid the last couple of years. Part of that reason, because I've questioned it with them, and I'm hopeful that they will cut us a little bit of a discount possibly so that it won't be as much as they originally quoted us. Basically, in the past, and I think this is true, the last few years, they have not charged the town what they should have charged the town, basically.
That's what they ended up going out of business.
3 or 4 years ago, they did actually charge considerably more. The last couple of years, it's fuzzy why they didn't, but we budgeted, I believe, because I think we did it for next year as well. I'm pretty sure in the budget for this year is about $800 or something like that for the production of the town report. Worst case scenario, it's going to be more like $1,100. So we might be as much as $300 over budget on it. I've talked about it with Samara, whatever. We're not really that worried about it. Unfortunately, we didn't find out about this until it's too late for us to do anything else.
Well, all that work that you did in setting it up.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if we hadn't done that, it would be even more. It would be even more than that than this. The long story short, hopefully they'll cut us a bit of a break and maybe it won't be as bad as that. Next year, on our list will be to quote it with a few different people and not necessarily stick with them moving forward. Although I will say that the price that they're charging us is not unreasonable for what the market probably is. We might not be able to get it done anywhere else.
That way, cheaper.
Anyway, but we'll at least know to look into other options next year.
And we gotta do it before we do the budget, so we know what we're planning for.
So anyway, that's basically it. That was.
Thank you very much. No, it looks very good. Thank you for the, has David Parker seen it? Have you shared it with him as the moderator?
No.
Okay. All right, anything else? All right, so we shall move down to highways and roads. We're skipping current projects. Next is the road bridge weight limit policy that was discussed at last month's last meeting. We're ready to sign. This is the weight limit policy. This is the town policy for the bridges 19, 12, 11, 10, 8, and 15. And it is the permit application. This has to be done and on file, so I'm going to sign it and pass it around. That's what we have to do tonight. We reviewed this last meeting. Oh, I spelled Maggio. There you go.
Do we need to? We don't need to vote on anything.
We did vote on it. We voted on it last week. We voted on it last week, and Gwen just retyped it
Okay.
last meeting. This got pulled up.
Yeah.
Okay.
February 8th, yeah, it was voted on February 8th, so that's ready for our, okay. The next thing is the road mileage report review and sign.
Sorry, can I just see the policy one more time? Just something. So I'm just. Okay, so I guess I'm just slightly confused because this does say approved by the Brookline Select Board on today. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. If we didn't vote on it today, how is it approved today?
Remember last, yeah, you're probably right. It's signed today. This was the date it's signed, but we
So we
did.
need to.
Okay, I'm gonna,
Well, I guess that's what I'm not clear on because to be honest,
you don't have it in the minutes?
I don't I don't remember us having actually taken any action on it last time.
Right, because we were talking about what unweighted,
at least-
unbridged.
I don't think I recorded anything about it.
All right, we'll just do it.
Okay, I have in front of me the procedure, processes, and policies, town approval for excess use of
Yeah.
Brookline roads and bridges, application to complete a permit application with the required information and a $10 fee. I'm going to It goes on to say, the town of Brookline has set the following weight limits. Bridge number 19, over the Green Iron Bridge over West River is set at 60,000 pounds. Bridge number 12 over Grassy Brook Road near Putney Mountain Road is set at 60,000 pounds. Bridge 11 over Grassy Brook Road near Papoose Road is 60,000 pounds. Bridge number 10 over Grassy Brook Road near the town office is set at 60,000 pounds. Bridge number 8 over Grassy Brook Road, which is the first bridge on the gravel portion of the Grassy Brook Road, is also 6,000 pounds.
60,000.
60,000 pounds. Bridge number 15 over Parker Brook Road on Greer Road near Parker Road is a non-posted bridge. Note, gravel portions of all roads will be posted to 60% of the legal load limit during mud season, approved by the Brookline Select Board on February 8th, 2018. Duly signed.
To make a motion to accept the policy.
And I accept it. I second it.
Seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so very much.
We did find
Stand.
it in the minutes where we were supposed to approve it today.
Okay. The next one is road mileage report, review and sign. Just took it out. Oh, here it is. Can I put it back in? This is a form in which I checked with our road commissioner. We have 0 Class 1 roads in town. There's no change. Class 2 roads, we have 4.950 miles of that road. There is no change from last year. Class 3 roads, we have 11.91 miles. That has not changed from last year. There are no state highways in town. The total amount of roads in town add up to 16.860 miles. There is no change. There is one Class 4 road, a distance of 1.47 miles, that has not changed, and we have one legal trail for 1 mile that has not changed. Since there are no changes, I checked off on the bottom, and I am going to ask for a motion to sign off on the certificate of highway mileages for the year ending February 10th, 2018. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
So,
You don't have to copy down the numbers.
no, I'm not. I'm actually sorry. I'm wanting to ask a question at the same time. I'm trying to update the notes. So did Archie determine then that though we did pave some additional road that hadn't been previously paved, it did not change the classification at all?
Archie
Is that the
said
case?
that the changes would have to be the road has not changed, it's still the
Yes,
same
okay.
road. Now, Samara thought that maybe because there was additional pavement, we might have a change in the amount of money, state money we will
Yep.
get, and Archie said that is not the case.
Okay.
We went through the procedures, if there were changes on how to do that, and it was definitely,
Great.
these are
Okay.
the accurate numbers
Cool.
as it is. So we voted, okay, discussion. Okay, all those in favor of signing the year-end February 10th, 2018 certificate of highway mileage signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, I'm gonna sign it with the squeezer, all our names on here.
Sorry, who made the original motion?
I did.
Chris did.
Who seconded?
I seconded.
Just a second.
And there's a spot there for,
Do I have to sign off on that also?
I'm gonna give it to you, you have to sign off on it as well, and there's an envelope that it goes in.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay.
What I'm also going to give to you, Mr. Tanza, this is what I got. It came in the packet. It is something that you have to send in. It's just the same thing.
Yeah, it's all part of that.
Right, it's all part of the same package, so that's ready for Guy. And this was last year's that I used. Okay, this is all in the same. Okay. So I'm gonna close this, and it goes like this, and it goes like this, and it goes like this. This is from Mr. Tanza. Okay. I did want to make a point that, no, I don't have to, it wasn't on the agenda, so I can't. All right, so we skipped over new business and old business, communications, comments, concerns, and dog complaints. There was an unsigned complaint about a resident living on a dirt road that the person felt the maintenance is not being kept up. Signed a taxpayer, but again,
Garbage.
pass it around. If you don't
It's garbage.
sign it and tell us where you're talking about, we cannot address that issue. So residents, we welcome your comments and concerns, but you have to tell us who you are and where you're talking about for me to address it. I do make phone calls if we get letters, and I call you back, and I'll. So that was the one communication. Other communications I'll just pass around. Is public safety planning seminars. This is
There were no email communications? Correspondence?
email communications.
I think the only thing you have is from the listers in regards to signing off that there are no pending lawsuits for the town in regards to, I think the listers left it there.
Is it email in this pile?
Yeah, somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yes, I see it.
I have no room for this. Just
Okay.
throw it
Next
away.
one is Sunny Lane Daycare drinking water testing, or you can look at it, the water testing was fine, it's not a problem, came back clear.
Well, if you guys want to look at them, I gotta break all these down now.
Town, it's a little newsletter about the, I read this already, from the Public Safety Commission. Okay. This guy already did, this was your hearing quote. Guy gave us information about meetings and hearings. We have that. Okay. We have a letter from PR Russell about purchasing playground padding, but we're going to probably be using our own wood chips. That one's about purchasing wood chips. We also have a letter, I'll read this one quickly to you, dated February 1st.
Handout the letter.
From the law offices of John E. Brady requesting, they're representing Jessica Barr for the dog bite injuries she sustained on January 5th at the property of Beverly Waters. Male pit bull Gucci owned by Mrs. Waters made an unprovoked attack, causing leg and arm injuries for which she received medical attention. We request the complete records maintained by the town of Brookline regarding this dog, his license, registration, vaccines, and any other prior reports or incidents regarding the dog. Please forward the request at your earliest convenience. I'm going to check with our attorney about what actually what might be limited to sending everything that I have out to her, the evidence. Email from Dummerston Cares asking for a donation. Spring Select Board Institute in March for VLTC or PACIF members, if you're interested in going. West Dummerston Volunteer Fire Department has sent a request for just a newsletter dated January 1st, talking about their new fire centers, and if you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, please do so. Elon City is a company that does the speed limit signs. Again, I had the one from last year. We wanted to put these up at Chris's house so that people don't have to ask for them. VLTC newsletter, we get this electronically as well. There are expense does everybody want one? You know what, everybody take one and pass it down. These are expense reimbursement forms in case you need something. You know what, I have to probably get my postage back, that would be.
It should be in that warrant, because I submitted.
I didn't know if it comes out of petty cash
You
or not,
keep
but.
for your records and for future reference.
Oh, yeah. I just prepaid our postage for the stuff.
There's a certificate for no appeal or suit pending. I'm going to read this. This is something else for us to sign. It says, "We hereby certify that on this date, no earlier than the first Tuesday of February following the lodging of the grand list, there are no appeals pending from the action of the listers nor suits to recover taxes paid under protest. Under the provisions of 32 VSA Section 4157, from this date, when offered in evidence in any court in this state, this list shall be received as a legal grand list, and its validity shall not be put in issue by any party to any action in any hearing or trial or in any court." So we're asked to sign this.
Do you want to keep, how come I got 4 of them?
There's some extra ones there. I just gave them just to have, so you have them, and then I'll just put them back. I can leave them all in the select board
Yeah.
section here, so when you need them,
I'll just throw it away.
And we also
I'll just
received
come to him if I
information
need
from
to
Mr.
step away.
Tanza preparing for town meeting. So that was our
More? Chris went for the.
other communications. Of course, dog complaints. We had a dog bite complaint, and this evening on February 8th, the vicious dog hearing was held. The respondent, Beverly Waters, said she had the flu and could not attend. She did not have to be present at the hearing, but it would have been helpful for her to clarify some questions that we had. But we'll make a determination by March 9th in writing, and the hearing will be resumed on the 28th at 6:30 here to come up with the protection orders. And we did the regular mail. Anything else? Okay. I'm gonna go to pay orders.
Sounds good.
You know what, I'll pass this, I'm
We
gonna
don't have
look.
to sign on this one because he already signed the payroll.
Oh, all
Bruce
right.
already signed payroll.
Okay, so if anybody
Or
else
somebody
wants,
did.
if somebody else wants to look at it, they can. All right. Oh, okay, certified mail costs, I see that. I'm gonna sign it and then pass it, and then I'll read it.
Short original hour. I've been good. You gotta do this been in good form.
Who didn't sign?
It's been a long day.
I didn't.
Dorothy, Glenn, David, Bruce, Chris. Did you sign it?
I did.
On the other
I'm on the
side?
roll, he signed over here.
That's okay.
Oh, was I not supposed to sign on
That's
this?
fine.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
Did I not follow directions?
So I am going to, oh yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry, we got time, we have 5 minutes.
You realize, right, there are 2 warrants in this.
I didn't look at that one yet.
Yeah, so
Yeah, because Bruce signed one.
Oh, there's 2 warrants in there, yeah. I
there's
didn't
2 in,
open it up, I
there's
just
2
looked
in the
at-
same folder.
I
so
figured
it's
while
just
I was
a little
looking at
confusing.
someone else.
That's right.
I already saw that.
This one was.
I didn't see this one.
I think we need to sign this. This one.
Oh, okay.
If you want, it looks like.
You know what?
So,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take a look at this. I have a payroll warrant. Did anybody talk? Are you? I'll wait for you, David, I know.
I'm okay now if you want to do it. Because I record already, I think.
All right, I have payroll warrant 2018-29. Make sure I have the right one here. 18-29, in the amount of $1,523.76. I'd like to make a motion to accept that. May I have a second?
Second?
Seconded by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting payroll warrant 18-29 in the amount of $1,523.76 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I have payroll warrant number 2018-31 in the amount of $3,543.82. I'd like to make a motion to pass that. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Gwen, I heard her. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting payroll warrant 2018-31 in the amount of $3,543.82 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Thank you, payroll warrants are done.
Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the accounts payable warrant 2018-30 dated February 7th, 2018 in the amount of $19,583.37. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting accounts payable 2018-30 in the amount of $19,583.37 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. That's approved. Very good. Done. Okay, setting the agenda for the regular meeting on Wednesday, February 21st, 2018. We said that we were going to put on the agenda to discuss the improvements that need to be made at Sunny Lane Daycare. We had it the last time approximately $5,300. Maybe it's a little bit more by then, but we can talk about that and put that on the agenda.
I'd like to discuss how, if we're gonna go forward doing any work with that building and how we're gonna juggle that with the expense of the UV system and what we're gonna do about the expense of that UV system.
You're going to be meeting with the UV tomorrow, so that
9
would be
a.m. if
good.
anybody wants to be there, I'm gonna be there at 9 a.m. with Scott.
The planning commission approval,
Next, I'm sorry, say
the
what?
planning commission, the town plan approval with the WRC.
We'll put on the agenda to sign a letter or how?
Right, you have to file a letter with the Wyndham Regional Commission requesting that they approve the town plan.
Okay, I'll add filing a letter with the Wyndham Regional Commission to approve the town plan to the next agenda. I'll also put on the next agenda a reminder about the hearing and the dog complaints if we need to. We might want to talk a little bit about town meeting, which is Tuesday, March 6th. It's the next meeting will be the last one before town meeting. We also wanted to talk about Ron Bell possibly as the general contractor for the shed. We're going to talk about that. We do have a reorganization meeting on the 7th of March, which is the day after town meeting. I have some things already organized from the past couple of years where we have to appoint people and things like that. We also have a $500 donation for the round schoolhouse. Mark was going to see about the cost of tree removal, which that might come up, I'm not sure. And the other one was to review a description for the Sunny Lane Daycare property manager position. I took the liberty of doing some research, and I did take a webinar on job descriptions, and so while this is in no way end all, the be all. This was a simple job description with responsibilities and qualifications. We can discuss it next week or the week after. You may add it and change it, but this is something just to start with, okay? Is there anything else? I'll put together a basic agenda.
I'd like
as a
to,
draft.
excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I might bring up, let's see if I got the time to work on this idea I had about the grant and whether I'm gonna get any, talking about calling that guy from the gas company, and I'm gonna talk about it with Scott tomorrow, about, actually, I'm going full circle, because this whole discussion started with Scott, about how to keep the church. So I'm gonna, I don't know if I'll have all my information in a row by the time that meeting comes out on the 21st, but I might, we'll see how.
Yeah, you got time.
Just wanted to mention that.
Okay, so I'll put the draft out. If we need to change or modify things, we can certainly do that. Is there anything else anybody would like to say?
Other than about town meetings, you'll get my, I think I sent everybody an email about our two legislators, they're gonna be coming at 9 AM.
Yes, 9, that's fine.
And I like the way you responded to it, the way you responded back. I think it was, you responded to the town, I think is what you said, that we were.
Oh, I did the listserv. That was the first indication the town meeting was gonna be at 9 AM.
Yes.
And I said, Matt and Carolyn Partridge will speak at 9, and then we'll go through, and then we'll abbreviate, well, we'll stop at 11 for the school, and then if there's anything final, then we'll have lunch.
Yeah, after that.
I did receive a phone call from a resident, Sarah Webb, I think her name was. She called up and she said that she would work with asking for people to help pull together the potluck. So
great.
Sarah, it's a little early to ask people what they're gonna cook, but I said I'd help her or help with the emails or the.
But you said 12:30, that we would break for lunch.
At the end, I think we should be done
Now,
by
just a moment,
12:30.
just a moment, because everybody likes to have a little short coffee break. Well, we should have that just before the school. Well, they can walk up, but we're at how many hours at that point? 3.5 hours. So maybe just before the school meeting, we have a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break to get a cup of coffee, sit down, get everything else done.
To be
then
discussed next week.
Yeah, we'll discuss it next week.
I was fast.
And the school.
I didn't even take a minute.
The school warning is really limited, it's not Act 46 or anything, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna be
true,
very
too.
quick. So it'll be very quick. Okay, anything else? No. All right, hearing none, I'll take a motion to,
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Okay,
we got a second?
second.
Seconded by Bruce, any discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 9:05, thank you very much.